Hello, Salesforce Ohana, Walters954 here with another Salesforce video. So in this video, we are continuing the series on FlowFestV1, and we are going to be on challenge number 4. If you've never heard of FlowFest, it is a Salesforce flow building competition hosted by Ohanaly and Salesforce Ben. Hundreds of Salesforce professionals like you compete to be the flow champion, or if you don't think you're ready yet, sign up to be a spectator. It's a really cool experience, earn prizes, and learn a thing or two about flows. Let's take a look at challenge number 4. We are looking for closed won opportunities with the highest amount. I think in a previous challenge we were looking for the lowest amount, but we will most likely apply the same techniques in here to find the opportunity with the highest amount. And then based on those opportunities, we need to find all the contacts that are associated with the account. So we're looking for that contact and account association there. And then we want to create the opportunity roles with the roles of business user. Now this is really cool because it's something that you may actually want to create in your org, right? When you have an opportunity on a particular account, certain users may need to come over to that opportunity from the account, or certain contacts may need to get brought over so that whoever is working the deal, they maybe know who to talk to. And in this example, it's just bringing over all of the contacts, but maybe in your specific situation, you want to bring over like somebody with a specific title, the decision maker, that kind of thing. Before we actually jump into creating our flow, let's make sure that we understand the prompt just inside of our Salesforce org. So we need to jump into our opportunities and find the opportunity with the highest amount. So instead of sorting it ascending, so moving up, I'm fairly certain we're going to be sorting it descending, so moving down. And the highest opportunity with that is this United Oil SLA. So it has the highest amount of, what is that, 1 million? Is it a million? Yeah, 1,200,000. Okay, I know math, I think. That's enough zeros, right? Anyways, this is the highest one, and then what we're going to do is get all of the contacts that are related to this account. So we can see here there are no contact roles, and I don't think opportunity roles. Is that another related list? If it is, I'm going to just check the page layout really quickly. But while that's loading up, we can see here that the United Oil and Gas Corp has some related contacts on it, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we want to do is then create on the original opportunity. So I flip back to it. On the original opportunity, we want to create opportunity contact roles. And I can't remember if this is it. I think these are it. Let's check the related list really quickly. It's contact roles. And I don't see opportunity. Maybe it is the contact roles. So it's going to create these records, and we'll triple check it when everything gets created and to make sure that the values are being added in here if it's something that we need to enable. So now let's jump into our flow. We are going to be creating a new flow. This flow, it can be a record trigger flow. It can be, you wouldn't really have it as a screen flow because we want it to happen kind of auto magically, right? For right now, I'm going to have this as an auto launch flow. We could, since this will be a subflow, we could then pop it back into like a record trigger flow. So the first thing we need to do is get our opportunity that has the lowest value on it. So we need to create our get record element. Call this get opportunity. And we'll call this highest amount. Our record type is going to be opportunity. And we don't need any conditions, and this is because we are already finding the one that we want based on sorting. So this is very similar to, I think, challenge number 2. If you did not see challenge number 2, definitely check out the description and the little box that's appearing somewhere to see challenge number 2, where I think that's the one where we did something similar. So we're not going to have any opportunity conditions in here because we're going to be sorting descending by the amount field in here. And we only need one record, or the first record that comes through. It's a really neat trick on sorting. If not, we would have to get all of the opportunities and loop through them all, which would be very time consuming in terms of computer complexity, right? So in terms of efficiency of our flow, we're just getting the highest one, and Salesforce will figure out the one we need from there. Next, we want to add another element, and this will be another get element. And some of you may be thinking, okay, we need to get the accounts, right? Because from the prompt, it said that we need to get all of the contacts related to the accounts related to the opportunity. So falling through that chain. But we can skip through that and just get our contacts based on the account ID. So what we need to do here is we're going to get all of our contacts, just labeling this, and you can see here I'm doing like a little dash to kind of denote what this get contacts is doing. The record or object type is contact. We do need a condition, and we're going to set this to the account ID. And then for our operator, or for what we're trying to set it equal to, we'll type in opportunity from our get opportunity, and we will set it to the account ID. So now these two need to match, right? We're getting the contacts that are related to our opportunity account ID. No need to sort. And we want all records because it said that, we want to loop over all of them. We saw from before that we had 4 records that we wanted to loop over. Now, I've been saying we need to do some looping. Let's actually start our loops. We're going to loop contacts and select our collections. So if we did not select all of the contacts, we would not have an option here. We would have only gotten one value back from our get. In this case, we have a collection, and we're going to start from the first value to the last. And in here is where a lot of the more of the flow magic is happening, right? So now we need to do an assignment because we're looking to create our opportunity contact roles. Some of you may be thinking, once again, let's just create some records in here. Create opportunity contact role. That is really long, so I'm going to start abbreviating that. And we can set some of the specific values. If I can spell opportunity contact role, there it is. And we can set the specific value, right? The contact ID, the opportunity ID, and the role. This would be it. This is what we need to get at least the challenge done for FlowFest, right? But if in terms of best practices for flows, if there's more than 200 records that are in the account, it's going to cause an error. So this is going to blow up. And for future FlowFest events and things like that, we're actually going to be testing, limits and things like this. So this is actually a bad practice to put a create statement. This is technically a DML statement, but any sort of operation on the database inside of a loop. Very bad practice because there are certain limits that Salesforce sets, and if you go over those limits, then your flow is not going to work. Everything is going to break. So the proper way of doing this is to do an assignment. I alluded to this a little bit. So we're going to say assign op contact role. Don't need anything after that. And now we need to start building our opportunity contact role object. So we do not have a variable that can hold our opportunity contact role. We need to create one. Op contact role. This is a record data type opportunity contact role. We're going to be creating and holding the variable or setting the values in the variable of opportunity contact role. Now that we have this, we can set the opportunity ID. We can set the contact, right? We need to set the contact, and we need to set the role. I think it's called role. All right. So for the challenge, we want to do business user. The contact ID, if you think about it, we are looping over the different contacts, which means the current value of our loop item has the ID, the contact ID in here. Now for the opportunity value, we can take it from our get opportunity. And there we have it. This should be, yep, get opportunity ID. This will create one instance. Every time this loops, it's going to create a new instance of the opportunity contact ID variable that we created. Now that we've done this, you may be saying, okay, well, we need to insert our opportunity contact ID. That is not correct because we end up in the same situation where we're doing an insert, a DML operation, or sorry, a create, but a DML operation inside of a loop. So that is incorrect. What we need to do is now save this, and once our loop is finished running, then we need to do our insert. So we're gonna create every time that we run our loop, we store, I keep saying create, but it's actually the incorrect word. We're gonna store the opportunity contact roles. So we're gonna store 4 of them because that's how many contacts are on there. After the loop is finished, we need to then insert all of the opportunity contact roles that we have stored. So we're inserting them all in bulk, at one time. It is a much more efficient operation for Salesforce to process. To do that storing, we're going to go back into our assignment element, and we need to store the instance of our var opportunity or var op contact role into a variable. That variable will be a collection. It's just a list. We don't have a list of opportunity contact roles yet, so we need to create one. Collection op contact roles. We're going to do records, and we're going to allow for multiples. This is the key in making it a collection and making a list. Now we set our objects to opportunity contact roles. And this is a little cheeky trick, right? We're iterating. Every iteration, we're creating an instance of var opportunity contact roles. And then we're going to store that in the collection. So we can actually do add, not equals to, not remove, not any of these. We can do add to star. It's going to be the same thing. But we're going to do add. It's all happening at one time, so there's no need to create another assignment element or anything like that. You can actually do it all in one. So we need to add in our var op contact roles. Now, at the end, we will do our update. So this is after the loop has run. And did I say update? I meant create. We're going to do our creation. Just to be a little more specific, we're saying it's from the collection, and we then need to select multiples, right? How many records? It's going to be multiples, and we need to select our var collection opportunity contact roles. There we have it. After the last one runs, we're going to jump down in here. Let's save this and debug it. Just some very specific naming here. And let's debug. We will debug in rollback so we can see some of the debug logs without anything updating. And what we're expecting here, looks like it ran successfully, is for it to find the highest opportunity, which is this one, and then create some opportunity contact role. I think this is the related list for it. I'm unsure. But create some opportunity contact roles based on the accounts that existed. Running through the debug, we can see that we found an opportunity. we are getting the contacts. Is that so yeah, here is the account. So we're relating it and we found record successfully. We're going to start looping. Here are all of the contacts that we found. We're starting our iteration. So we go through, do our assignment of all the values, setting the business user. That looks great. And the opportunity contact role does not have an ID, which is correct because we are just generating this. We're storing the value without generating it yet. And then, we're setting the business user. All of these values look correct. On to the next iteration. We can see that the main thing that should be changing here is the contact ID. So this one is ending in 0A1. That's OAA1. This is also OAA1. Contact ID. I'm hoping these are getting updated. And contact, oh, yep, they totally are. So you can see the first iteration is NAA1. That's tripping me out for a second there. So it runs through, loops through, loops through, loops through, and then finally we end up with a collection at the end of this. All the opportunity IDs should be the same, but the contact IDs should be different. NAA1, OAA1, SAA1. And since we were in rollback, nothing went through. So let's actually debug this again without rollback and see if those records get updated. Close that out, refresh this page. And there it is. It was this related list. The opportunity contact roles are created. We've got 4 of them and they are all business users. So that is pretty neat in terms of looping. I think in the FlowFest challenge, it also asked for us to get the count. So that is very simple as well. All you need to do is add in another section in our assignment and we will do a variable for the counter, right? We're already looping through everything. We can do it a bunch of different ways. I'll show it really quickly. Count of, I think we needed to count the contacts. So we need to make sure that this is a number, and the key here is the default value starting at 0. We can have 0 as our decimal place too. Starting at 0 will help for our counter. In previous examples that we've done, previous challenges, we used equals count, and we wanted it to equal the number of contacts, and that'll equal 4 or whatever it actually is. But since we are looping over these already, it doesn't really make sense. Or you can do the traditional way of adding 1 every iteration of this. If we do equals count, it's just going to be shoving the same value in there over and over. I need to do add, make sure to do that. So it really doesn't matter where where you're doing the counting, since you have to run this loop to do it. And to do the assignment, you can do that inside of here as well, the traditional one. And I hope all this made sense, right? This is it can be a complex challenge if you're not familiar with loops and how they work in the assignments. And it can definitely, you can spend some time doing some traditional or very inefficient looping inside when you're going through the competition. You're trying to do it fast, but even inside of your orgs, right? This is a very efficient way of getting down to this value, and you may want to do something like this for your opportunities or your contact roles on other records, right? Not just the opportunity, but there's also account contact roles too. So some sort of relationship automation can be created on like a record trigger flow when new contacts are added or a new opportunity is created and you want to add in those values. Very easily you can make this a bit more useful. Let's say you add in something like title contains SVP, right? So anytime that an SVP, an opportunity is created and the contacts has SVP, they're going to be added in as a decision maker onto the, I think there's a decision maker in here. Yeah, so onto the opportunity contact role. This could be very key for salespeople and things like that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful for you all to understand some looping techniques and assignment things and how they worked inside of flows. Flows are great and all, but sometimes they do have limitations. So I have created recently a Apex Fundamentals course where you can start to learn the foundations of Apex, where once you hit those roadblocks and flows, you can then use Apex and coding to take whatever you're trying to build to the next level. So links in the description for that. I'm Walters954, and remember, I believe in you.